Well, good morning. Yeah, it's kind of cold out there. Um, Welcome to our Zoom friends and those here in the sanctuary. Um, we're glad you're with us no matter where you sit. For our Zoom friends, Ember will be your chaplain today. My name is Linda Krenicke. My pronouns are she and her. I'm grateful and honored to be serving as worship associate this morning. I have to say Jennifer is a mentor to me, so I am thrilled that she's here and in person. I'm a small blonde woman, and today I'm wearing a black top and a black skirt, and a worship associate stole made by Heidi Gould. I welcome you here this morning with the words of Monica Jacobson Tennyson. Welcome. What you bring, who you are, enriches us all. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger, and the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen and heard. Welcome to them as well. For we are people of faith, faith in our expansive welcome, faith in our ability to grow, faith in the precious gift of our truths, faith in the promise of trying, learning, changing, faith in our capacity to know ourselves and each other ever deeply. Welcome to you who are gay, straight, bi, pan, lesbian, queer, questioning, unable to be contained in any one word. Welcome to you who are trans, cis, genderqueer, non-binary, intersex, agender, beyond words. Welcome to you who are human. Welcome to you who love and are loved. Welcome to you who are blessed, which is all of you. May this time together be a blessing. Now, Anna is going to light the chalice for us this morning while I say these words. I'm going to continue welcoming you with the words of Amy G.S.A. Brooks as Anna lights the chalice, symbol of our living faith. Thank you. Even as the days grow shorter and our homes shrink smaller and our wicks burn lower and our will to endure flickers, we light this chalice to kindle a flame of warmth as a reminder of the connection that draws us in to a community that opens us up. In gratitude for the breath in our lungs and the love in our hearts, for the gift of this day, alive.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Jennifer Hackett. My pronouns are she and her, and I am beyond delighted to be back among you today from across the country, where I serve as the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville's Minister of Faith Formation for Children, Youth, and Families, which means that I do Ryan's job at my church, but without the adults and with added pastoral care and weekly worship components. Today, I am wearing an off-white robe, and I'm so happy to be wearing this blue stole that y'all gifted me at my ordination 2 years ago. I wear it all of the time now. For my description, my hair is still curly and still mostly brown. I sometimes imagine that I am around 25 years old, but I am apparently now twice that age. I'm in town just for today. I made my West Coast flights work out with the Laredo Fall Con being in Vancouver this year. Fellow former intern Tina DeYo was there, and she asked me to send her love to you all as well. I'll be sticking around for all of Social Hour to visit with all of you and hear about your lives. But for those of you who won't be there, in brief, here are my answers to your frequently asked questions. The family is fine. Both of our jobs are stable at this time. The kids are both in high school, 12th grade and 9th grade respectively, making my driving life so much simpler. And as a real gift, the high school is just 2 blocks from the church, which has again made my life better. And our oldest is applying for colleges, hopefully right this minute if you're listening. For those of you who don't yet know me, I was UUCE's pandemic intern from across the country, and UUCE loved me into being. And you ordained me into being able to do the work that I am blessed to do today. That is part of the magic of this congregation. You love ministers. You love each other into community. You allow for and encourage creativity in worship services, which you will see enacted in just a bit with our musicians interacting with my sermon today, allowing me to preach a verse at a time. Feel free to sing along with the choir if you know the words when the time comes. Welcome. I and so many others are grateful to you for your gifts that make up this vibrant church community. It is a joy to be with you today. Let us continue in joy with a reading from Tony Hoagland entitled Butter. I think it was Marie who first taught me the art of spreading flattery on people, then smearing it around like marmalade on slabs of whole wheat bread, or how to spray them lightly with just a mist of unexpected praise. Why did it take me so long to see that the power of sweetness is as great as the power of the river or of the sun? If I can improve the world by scorching it with truth, I will lavish the world with the power of butter. I will force it to feel good about itself. First, I'll make it blush, and then I will step back and watch it shine. This gifted choir just sang for us, "Where there is hatred, let me bring your love." Love, which is at the center of our core values, our principles rewritten for clarity, or in the parlance of this congregation, a more concise UU elevator speech. It's been a long 10 months, y'all. It's often felt like being hit over the head with a hammer, has it not?
Yeah.
A hammer bearing a message that is not in alignment with our values, born in extractive capitalism, meaning I want what you have and I'll do anything to your community to get it. It's had more than a whiff of desire for power over others, and it's not grounded in love. and has been coming at us from this way and that way in so many ways. It's sometimes hard not to get bogged down by it. It has been a message that has not been placing love at the center. I understand ICE began making unwelcome appearances in Eugene this Wednesday. I am sorry you have joined the community of cities experiencing this unwelcome and unwelcoming intrusion. Has it felt hard to anyone else lately to remember the inherent worth and dignity of all the people? My current ministry follows someone who was in the position for almost 19 years. The Unitarian Universalist Association encourages all ministers in that situation to take a year-long ministerial transitions class to help us know best how to ease a congregation through that transition to someone new. We meet every other week on Zoom for 3 hours with one in-person meetup in Montgomery, Alabama. That in-person meetup happened for me last month, and it was incredible. Each day we prepped for a different museum surrounding the civil rights of human beings, and each evening we broke down together what we learned and what it meant for our ministries and how we could bring it back to our congregations. The highlight of this trip was a series of museum installations created by Brian Stevenson. He's a lawyer you may have heard of for prisoners' rights, who wrote a book you may have read, or a movie you may have seen, called Just Mercy. The museum, through history and interactive displays and art that evoke a visceral response better than anything I've ever seen or been to. And for a barometer, I'll tell you, it was for me an even more profound experience than the Holocaust Museum in DC. This one takes you through the Black American experience from the first boat in 1619, bringing kidnapped persons to our shores, to lives that you wouldn't wish on anyone, through to the school prison to pipeline, from the school to prison pipeline of the modern industrialized prison complex, for locked away lives that you wouldn't wish on anyone. As difficult as it was to meet the truth of the Black American experience from every angle through the ages, what was most incredible to me was the ongoing effort at resistance. Incredible hope persisting despite all evidence to the contrary, evidence that said that hope would do no good. And yet, hope's best friend is action. Using wiles, using vision, using principles of nonviolence, leaning on each other, calling each other into shared values, amazing things have happened. Now back to St. Francis, the original author of this song that is leading us through this sermon today. I think it's clear he was a theist, meaning his words are spoken to a God of his faith. And some of you here are theists, and some of you are not, and some of you are hedging your bets. But what allows us to come together in community is our covenantal faith rooted in our shared values. But these words of his apply for all of the non-theists too. Let me tell you how. If you grew up UU, maybe you had a year along your path with a curriculum called Neighboring Faiths, where you spent time learning about another world religion and then went and experienced everything there was to experience at their house of worship together. Soul Matters, the curriculum subscription that this congregation subscribes to, including for things like your monthly themes, has an updated version of this curriculum called Crossing Paths. It's based on the book by Stephen Prothero. His book is called God is Not One, the 8 Rival Religions That Run the World. In the book and in subsequently the curriculum, Prothero frames each world religion as presenting a problem and a solution. I'll give you 3 examples. In Buddhism, it presents the world's problem is suffering, and the solution is enlightenment. Judaism presents the world's problem as exile, and the solution is reunion with God. Christianity presents the world's problem as sin, and the solution is salvation. So what does that mean for us? For Unitarian Universalism, our presenting problem is separation from life's joy, from each other, and from our deepest selves. And our solution is connection. Theist or non-theist, our faith, our well-being, our solutions lie in each other. Indigenous Australian Lilla Watson said it best for us when discussing liberation theology. If you have come here to help me, you're wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. Having true faith in you means faith in us working together in love. Where there is despair in life, let us bring some hope. Preach, St. Francis. There is a new professor in my seminary, the Reverend Dr. Yara Gonzalez Justiano, and she has a book out about hope in a colonial world. In the very first line, she lets us know that there is a Puerto Rican saying, "There is no evil that lasts 100 years, nor a body that sustains it." Fellow author Anne Lamott says it even more plainly. 100 years from now, all new people. Right now, it may feel like people with power are tanking everything, but remember, they too shall pass. I agree with St. Francis's desire for there to be only light where there is darkness and only joy where there is sadness. In theory. If you haven't watched the cartoon movies Inside Out 1 and 2, it should be the first thing that you do on your to-do list. If for no other reason than the latest characters are hilarious. Among others, they introduce Ennui, who has a laissez-faire attitude embodied by teenagers everywhere. Spoiler alert. In the movies, we learn that sadness and darkness, they are important feelings to feel. Joy is more joyful when we have swum through a sea of sadness. Light is more welcome and more incredible when resurfacing from a period of darkness. Justice is more celebrated after a period of the law having been completely ignored. Let us celebrate our fellow brave Americans who have run campaigns against the machine and won like they did this past Tuesday. To talk about hope in a time of despair, in and of itself, is an act of resistance. Can we be the bearers of hope? Resistance and persistence are acts of life, of choosing to carry on without being beaten down. And when we cannot have hope, can we hold space for despair for each other until we can pick hope back up again? This church is a space where despair can be transformed. It's not an empty hope, rather one forged in fire together. In our Time for All Ages today, Ryan opened up our story with the words, "When I see someone going through a storm of hurt and unfairness, anger and sadness, and all I see is fear, I ask myself, what can I do to let the love back in?" Beloveds, this is our time. We are built for this. We are the people who let love back in. We are the ones who show up for each other's liberation. Some of you may feel that your efforts may not make a difference. Maybe elected officials have discounted your letters, your opinions, your part of democracy. But good people, this is a time where the world needs us the most, showing up with our love in a variety of ways. I know there are those among us who feel, I've done the work. I don't have the energy to keep doing it. But we do have to value every contribution. Nonviolently resisting with our phone calls, our attendance at protests, our baking snacks for those on the protest lines, our time together here today. All of this is valuable. But friends, our biggest challenge may be nigh. And of course, I am speaking about the impending Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, to be understood and to understand. How many of us have bombastic relatives who want to tell us how great certain leaders are, and you may categorically disagree? If you choose to engage in this divided dinner table, which is a choice, can you lead in love there? How important it is these divided days to be the ones who bring peace over turkey. I'll tell you, it is more important than ever. When we come through this time, and we will come through this time, we shall be known for our actions. We shall be known as the ones who led with love, like our nonviolent civil rights protesting beloveds. We shall be known as the ones who did not engage in cursing one another out on social media, or across the yams and dinner rolls, or on the protest line. We can choose to find places where we can come together. We both like butter. We shall be known not only by the company we keep, but also by the company that we endured with love in our hearts, as well as outward-facing words and actions of love out loud. If I had to boil down all of the teaching of seminary experience into one message, it would be simply this: to show up as a non-anxious presence. You can remember this because it spells nap. And who does not love a nap, especially on Thanksgiving? This Thanksgiving, let us be grateful for all of those who are easy in our lives. And for those who are not easy, show up with your love and a nap. This congregation in particular does a great job of discussing end-of-life issues. For those of you who are having an allergic reaction to the phrase that was just sung, "In dying we are born to eternal life," hang in there with me. UU's discussing of eternal life is a bit of a sticky wicket, as we don't really teach or know if dying brings us to eternal life. But let me tell you a story that may give you as much comfort as it gave me. My favorite professor in seminary was the Reverend David Buttrick. He and his wife Betty had a tradition of inviting all of the Thanksgiving orphans to dinner. It started with students far from home, but the circle was truly drawn wide. They invited church members with mental health issues whose families had rejected them. They invited prostitutes in from the street. They literally invited anyone who needed a safe place to be, to eat, and to be in community. I enjoyed more than one Thanksgiving dinner at the Buttricks. I looked up to David and Betty. I stayed connected to them long after seminary, and eventually I attended Betty's funeral. Several months after she died, I asked David if he believed in a heaven as was described in our childhoods, and if he thought Betty would be there waiting for him. He gave me the best, most calming answer in an existential crisis. He said, "What I know about our time after now is that I will join my beloveds in the mystery." What we can know about the hereafter is that we will all be part of the mystery. This answer has brought me more comfort than you can know. But possibly more difficult than discussing eternal life is the concept of pardoning those who have done us wrong. In my first ministry post my time here at UUCE, I was hired by my public school district to do restorative justice work with our teens at the local alternative school. If you're not familiar with this terminology, it means you got kicked out of your regular high school and were sent to this alternative school. It was a last-ditch effort at your education. Or in other words, the school-to-prison pipeline is alive and well. I spent the first 3 months just taking kids for walks who had exasperated their teacher and had subsequently been booted from class. This did two things for me. When they realized that I was not a part of the punitive experience at school, and I really was just going for a walk with them, not in class, and usually around the grounds or on the gym floor, they told me their stories. I learned that between 80 and 90% of the kids there are black and brown. About 30% of them never should have been sent there. They were there to be made an example of or to send a warning to others. Between 80 and 90% of the kids there are from families who, for whatever reason, have not been able to support their growth emotionally or tend all of their needs for clothing, food, shelter, or love. About 95% of the kids had never been taught to apologize, had never learned a rupture and repair process. As I got to know the kids and learned to parse out truth from boasting, it became clear to me that taking accountability for the mistakes in their lives was seen as soft. And for many of them, softness was dangerous. Definitely dangerous emotionally and possibly dangerous physically. The second things I learned on these walks was that these children were there for offenses, many of which they had in fact committed. But few, if any, of my students had ever apologized to anyone. How were they successfully to return pardoned to their school communities if everyone was still mad at them? The more I started to talk about this, the more I realized that a failure to understand a practice of rupture and repair is not unique to alternative school. I don't know if it's uniquely American, but I know we collectively struggle in this arena. I realize it's a hard sell when there's a lot on the line, but anywhere there is a healthy, grounded community, there is a rupture and repair process that includes these four things. taking responsibility for your actions. You can explain your intent, but only if you acknowledge your impact and own that too. Ask the one who is hurt how you can make amends, and if it's within your reach, follow through. And finally, ask if you have understood everything you need to, or do they need to tell me more in order to understand all of it? So how do we live in this time when grounding and gratitude feel elusive? After all, we're trying to understand what it means to be grounded through nail-biting elections, bombastic relatives around a table, ICE disruptions in our community, democracy's erosion. Hope is a choice. It's easy to go to despair, but we need each other to remember to live in hope and action in these times. Gratitude is something we have to create. Our problem is separation. Our solution is connection. For our liberation is bound up together. Let us extinguish our chalice with words that you know. Are they going up on the board, or do you just know them? Well, it's a surprise. All right, you lead me. Which one do we do? Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Let us go forth in gratitude for free and fair elections, for sustaining reasons to keep on hoping, and for the love of one another. If we cannot improve the world by scorching it with truth, lavish the world with the power of butter. And if you've tried all that and still need more resources, go forth and nap.